What happens if the worst thing that ever happened to you wasn't actually the thing that hurt you the most? Sometimes it's the meaning your brain attaches to it. Most people think resilience comes from success, but the brain often learns its deepest lessons during seasons when nothing seems to go right. Mason had spent years building his life, one careful step at a time. Every small victory felt earned through patience and persistence. Then, a project he had worked on for months suddenly fell apart. The strange part wasn't the setback itself, it was how quickly his mind started rewriting his entire story. The human brain is constantly searching for patterns. When enough disappointments happen close together, it begins connecting them into a single narrative. Soon, Mason wasn't seeing separate failures anymore. He started seeing evidence that life simply worked against him. Psychologists call this pattern selective attention. The mind becomes trained to notice proof that supports an existing belief. Without realizing it, Mason began overlooking small wins. His attention automatically locked onto every obstacle, delay, and mistake. The more he focused on setbacks, the heavier they felt. What started as frustration slowly became emotional exhaustion. His daily routine never changed much, but his perception did. Even ordinary challenges now felt larger than they actually were. Most people never notice when this shift happens. The brain quietly adapts until negativity begins feeling normal. One afternoon, Mason sat on a park bench watching dark clouds move across the sky. Something about the scene felt familiar. The clouds covered the sun for a while, but they never erased it. The sunlight was still there, even when he couldn't see it. That's when he noticed something interesting about his own thinking. He had been treating temporary storms as permanent conditions. The strange part was that his setbacks weren't defining him, his interpretation of them was. Research shows people often suffer twice, first from the event itself, and then from the story they repeatedly tell themselves afterward. Mason slowly stopped asking why bad things kept happening. Instead, he became curious about how he was responding to them. The challenges didn't disappear, but they stopped feeling like proof that he was failing at life. Life still brought both sunshine and rain. The difference was that he no longer mistook every storm for the end of the journey. Because resilience isn't the ability to avoid hardship, it's the ability to remember that clouds eventually move. If you know someone who needs a reminder to keep going, tag them below.